Okay, good morning, AP and Special Studies, second and third period. I made some changes in the last couple of days. I wanted to inform everyone of this, so I'm just recording this in second period, and I'm going to go ahead and play this both periods. So, as you can see here, we are in Google Classwork, and I have changed the links for Zoom. We had a Zoom bomber one period, like fifth period, and so I've decided to make individual Zoom links, and that way I can utilize separate ones and have it more organized without Zoom bombers. So there's one link here, and this is for Zoom for second period. Third period, it would say third period. And then underneath that, there is another Zoom link, and that is for student support time. That's a completely different link. Okay, so as you can see, it doesn't match. If you're struggling getting into either Zoom, I went ahead and I put a little step-by-step presentation on how to get into Zoom. Unfortunately, today my other computer was not working for Wi-Fi, so I can't do special recordings, and I decided to turn off my camera, which was fine. Yesterday, you had an assignment due. I moved the assignments up closer to the Zoom link to make it easier for you guys to find, and I just moved proof of practice lower. So what I asked everyone to do yesterday in the agenda, let's look at that agenda. I asked everyone to turn in your artistic mind map. I gave many examples, and that was due on Wednesday, and I even gave you till 3 o'clock to submit that. So all you were supposed to do on Wednesday was submit your slideshow, submit your image onto the slideshow. And so I had a video on how to submit. And then I said there's a classroom critique worth 50 points for participation. I explained to everyone that we would do that today on Thursday, but some of you, I think, got a little confused because you saw this highlighted here and went ahead and started giving critiques. We are not doing critiques until today. If you did some yesterday, that's great, but we need to go over how to do a critique before you start critiquing other people's artwork. And that's what we're going to go over right now. So the critique alone is worth 50 points, and you will be critiquing 3 different students, but you are critiquing them on particular things. So I wanted to go over that. And so I'm going to place my video right here. I haven't created it yet because I'm doing it right now with all of you. In the comments section of the shared slideshow, provide 3 constructive feedback based on the 3 examples on slide 2, teacher example. Take time to have thoughtful ideas and feedback. I will do attendance based on this and 50 points for participation. I know who is making an effort and who is not, and points will be based on your effort. So going back to, let's see here, this the slideshow that you are putting all of your work on. I'm gonna go to second period. I'll open it up right now. Here's the slideshow. Most of you did a fantastic job putting your image on the slide that had your name. I noticed one person created their own. I had created them for everyone. And if you look over here, we can see on slide number 2, there is a little comment button, and that is right up here. And you were supposed to do different comments. And I even took a screenshot of my comments, but it's hard to see here, so I would like to show more. And so one comment is supposed to be positive, something you like or love. So we love the colors and the strong self-portrait in the center. Then we put work on, so that's feedback, could use more. Looks incomplete, writing could be more vivid, hard to see the words and essential questions. And then any other ideas? We said more color, drama, visuals, and then after that, I even added another comment after I thought about it for a while. More shading and value ranges of hues, more darks. And so that's all the feedback I gave to this young lady. And this was important. And so I don't want anyone to start this yet. I see there's 3 people, Therese, somebody with a Y, so that's probably Yasmin, and Vanessa. You guys need to get off there because I haven't told you what to do yet. So I don't want you on here right now. I haven't even given the instructions. Maria, you need to get off of that. All you're supposed to be doing right now is watching me and learning. Okay? I don't want you to jump to the beginning and do what you think when you haven't even seen the instructions. So you guys need to get off of the slideshow. Therese, Vanessa, close the slideshow. I can see you guys working on here and you're not supposed to be. I'm talking right now. You're supposed to be watching me, Vanessa. Close the slideshow, Vanessa. Okay, she's not listening to me. So I'm going to go ahead and move on since Vanessa's not listening right now. She hasn't closed that slideshow. I'm talking right now and I want everybody else watching me. So each slide, Vanessa, do you not understand that I'm asking you to close the slideshow?
I did close.
Oh, it still shows that you're right here, that you're still looking at it.
Oh, hold on.
Okay, now she understands. So each slide has different student artwork. Maria's looks fantastic. I haven't really analyzed it, but you're going to give looking time and analyze the work. And if you have questions, that's going to be really important. And so I see that Moises started making a comment, but he didn't do the 3 different things that I asked. So he's going to go back and he's going to add more. But right now we're just looking really quickly. And then I'm going to show you a video on how to critique. I don't want you guys jumping ahead. I told you all we would be critiquing today. Yesterday was just to submit your artwork and you had till 3 o'clock to do that. So here's another one that says Yasmin's. Here's Melissa's. Here we have Gracelyn, and then Angela, and then Moises. Sophia did not do it. Jocelyn. Sabin did not do it, but I think I saw it later on. She must have missed her slide. Then we have the other Jocelyn. I'm not going to talk about these right now because I know you guys can do that, but I just want everyone to know whose work is on and whose is not in case you made a mistake. Here we have Anna. Then we have Yubiani, Vanessa. Vanessa, you need to do yours over again because it's very blurry and we cannot see what is there. So you need to do that over again. Take a picture that's not blurry. And then we have Israel. Peter did not do it. Janelle did not do it. Some of you tried to turn this in as an assignment, but I asked you to submit it onto the slideshow, and that's how I took attendance. Louisa, I had a video on it and everything. Then we have Alexander and Therese. And then Sabin is down here. She missed her slide and then she added it later. And then Marlins is missing. So that's who I have here that has done the assignment. So now we're going to go back to the agenda. And I think I actually have a video, but for some reason, I guess I lost it. I saved it here. Let me go to my YouTube real quick. So sorry. YouTube.com. And then, is there like a recent? Where is it? So I'll type it in here. It's critique, art class critique. Let's see if I can find it. Oh, here it is. So now we're going to go ahead and watch this video.
Do you want to learn to draw professional and impressive artwork from scratch that will blow people's minds?
This week, I want to talk to you about something that's been weighing on my mind lately, and that's the issue of critique. If you spend any time on the internet, it's something you come across frequently. If you're the victim of internet trolls, or if you are an internet troll, listen up. There is an etiquette to critique that has been in play for a long time in art schools all over the world. Let's see if we can learn something from that world and apply it in ours. So here's how an art critique usually goes. An art student sets up their work to show their teacher, a group of teachers, their friends, their class, or an even bigger group. Then discussion ensues, questions are asked, and criticism is offered. Sometimes things do go awry, tears are shed, and expletives hurled. But it's usually a civilized affair, and there is an etiquette to these things that I think it would be useful for us to discuss in relation to the art assignment and to the internet community at large. But first, let's talk about why we should critique in the first place. Because it's the internet and you can anonymously say whatever you want? I'd say no. Because you'd like to change the minds of the person you're critiquing? Definitely no. Critique is often most instructive for the person offering it. In looking at other people's work and formulating your opinion of it, you're learning a great deal. I don't often see people responding to internet comments by saying, "Gee, thanks, I never thought about it that way. I agree with you now." But that's okay, because it's still a constructive process. It can help shape your beliefs and teach you about different ways of looking and thinking. That being said, here are some critiquing guidelines. 1. Be attentive. The internet has trained us to look at something for a millisecond and to scan text quickly. Fight that urge. Let something linger on the screen for seconds or even minutes. Look at it once and then look at it another time later in the day or the next week. I often have instinctual reactions when I first see something, but then my opinion changes the longer I spend with it, or even a week later when I'm remembering it. Use your faculties and your patience and trust your reactions. 2. Don't be lazy. I am a terrible example to follow. When I look at all of the responses that come into the art assignment, my head fills with ideas, but then I get a phone call or I'm in a hurry and I just reblog something or say something tepid instead of saying something substantive about it. I also lean way too heavily on the word interesting. It's value neutral, which is helpful, but it also says very little. For example, the history of documentary photography is interesting, but The Simpsons is also interesting. It's not a particularly specific adjective. There are lots of lazy words, and it's okay to use them sometimes, but try to follow them up with something that has teeth. Instead of saying, "This is great," say, "This is great because you've done A, B, and C, and then surprised us all by adding D." 3. Be generous. Try to look at each work of art for what is successful. Performance artist Matthew Goolish tells us in an essay on criticism to look for the aspects of wonder. We want to encourage more wonder in the world, right? So when we come across it, let's celebrate it. Criticism can be an incredible act of empathy. What made someone make that thing? Why did they do it that way? Be sympathetic to the maker and realize that the mere act of putting yourself and your work out there takes courage. 4. Find your point of entry. You don't have to have a PhD in art history to talk about art. So find your point of connection to a piece, as personal as you'd like it to be. For example, this reminds me of a bath mat in the best possible way, because its tactility is enticing and it transports me instantly to my friend's bathroom circa 1997, which had floral wallpaper and smelled like Garnier Fructis shampoo. As it happens, it is a bath mat and not an artwork, but it could be an artwork. Think about what the thing in question reminds you of, whether it's from the same discipline, something personal, or something far-flung. Think about the decisions that were made along the way. Maybe it's the materials used or not used. Maybe it's the way it's been arranged in space or documented for us to see. Maybe it's what the maker decided to include or exclude from the frame of the work. What are the skills on display? Maybe the artist is not an amazing draftsperson, but still ended up with a delightfully peculiar, delicately rendered drawing that communicates much more than a perfectly photorealistic drawing might have done. Maybe the ideas behind a project outweigh the execution. Maybe the execution outweighs the ideas. And if you can't think of anything declarative to say, ask a question. Don't be a jerk. There is a lot you can say about something without declaring it to be good or bad. It can be a productive challenge to try to not make any value judgments while talking about a work. Most art critiques take place in a room where all of the individuals have to look at each other's faces and deal with the immediate consequences of saying something provocative. Pretend you're in the same room with the person you're critiquing. Pretend they're someone you know. I'm not saying to lie or blow smoke. I'm saying don't be a jerk. And finally, why make yourself available for critique? Faced with the reality of all the internet trolls in the world, it's completely understandable to stay in your hole and not participate in internet communities. I totally get that. But the positives of participating in this and other online projects can be real and rewarding. It's hard to have perspective on your work. And offering it up for review means you might have the chance to see it with fresh eyes and learn from the experience of others. But it also makes you vulnerable, which can be a miserably crappy feeling, but sometimes a liberating and empowering one. If you can try to take your ego out of it, you can learn a great deal. I want you guys to talk about each other's work. I don't want this to be just me passing judgment on you guys and the amazing work you do. We must be in this together. So talk to each other, comment on works. Don't be mean, but think about what the aspects of wonder might be in each work and share that with each other. It will make the experience of the art assignment better for everyone involved. Okay, so here is a self-portrait I made in college in a painting class I took with the artist Ed Paschke. It was an experiment in underpainting, which is a technique where you kind of paint something in all the same hue, like a darker hue, and then you paint color over it. Let's critique.
Okay, I'm not going to play the rest of this, but you get the idea of what critique is all about. And that's what I wanted to show you. And some of you jumped the gun and started critiquing yesterday. And that's okay. I would like for you to go back and make changes because I have specific requirements that I want for this critique. You're going to critique 2 to 3 people. Some of you started yesterday, so I have that time stamped. I want you to do it for today. And so everybody's going to have class time now. I'm giving you till 9:50. Right now it's 9:22. So you have roughly 28 minutes to critique students on their on the slideshow. So you can go ahead and go back to classroom and just click on the second period. For third period, you're clicking the third period. And then you're going to click this button right here. But keep in mind, I want to see the 3 criterias that I said. So let me outline what those are again before you start working. Okay, so this one was, let me highlight it if I can figure out how to. I don't see that button here. Where's the button? Does anybody know where that button is to highlight? Maybe it's right here. Nope, that's not it. I would like to highlight that. Maybe it'll let me edit. See, you can edit right here, everyone. And so now I'm going to edit, and I'm trying to highlight it to let you all see, but for some reason it's not letting me. But you get it. So one is positive, like or love. I'm going to put this on my slideshow. So I'm going to on the agenda so that you can't say you didn't know. And so positive, like or love. I'm going to make that one requirement. And then, so that's number 1. That's the first thing you do. We always start off with a positive. And then number 2 is going to be, let me go back to the slideshow real quick. Work on, feedback, could use more of. So I'm going to go ahead and paste that right here. And then number 3, I forgot what number 3 was. Any other ideas for the artist to think about and that they may use? I need the agenda. I'm going to make these a little bit smaller. So those are the 3 requirements that you must give to 2 students, 2 to 3 students. I would love for you to be generous. I'm going to check everything, so you can't say you don't know what the requirements are. I just made them in bold. Okay? Any questions for the good of the group? If you did this yesterday or earlier today, you're going to have to go back and you need to put in those requirements. All right. Nobody wants to talk to me. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the recording and load that, and I will place that here for the video for third period and anybody that missed any information. It'll